Hi, my name is Tony Lopez. I will be doing the narration and the presentation of our game, Pong. Now, this game was created with the production and code engineering of Patricia Martinelli, Tianan Theongnoon, and Tony Lopez. In our abstract, we proposed the development of a VHDL-based Pong game. It's our way of showcasing our knowledge and hardware development skills from our current class, and we use the FPGA buttons and 7-segment display with coordination of the VGA monitor, but in our case we used an external monitor from our computer screens. In our initial designs, we try to work on a running game, but we had to backtrack a couple times because we were looking at something more intricate when we should be looking at something more simplified to streamline the design, but also the development and production of the game. As you can see, we still use the same state machine in a way. Now, we have a general state machine where it's start, reset, and it's just as soon as you hit start, then you go into gameplay, and then gameplay either gets you into a loss or a win category. And in our case, we ended up changing it from a win and a loss category to a point and then restart category. In our methodology, we took our foundations from CPE, CS, and EE classes to execute our mission, our current understanding of the VHDL code language, and lessons that we learned from CPE 302. That being said, we had to work on simplifying our design because as far as me, Tony, and Tianan, we were working on something that we could have thought would be more intricate. We wanted to do a microprocessor to work on the game to make it the most optimized version of that game by using a microprocessor for the design of the game for Pong. But we had to look at something more simplified, and we went back to our roots with CPE 200, and we looked at a top module design instead of a more complicated design that would set us back more in time, and that's when we had to finally commit to a more simplified design that worked in not just our time element benefit, but also in our production simplicity. In our early designs, we just had a basic understanding of the game. We used two paddles, a ball, and a collision line. Now, this is just used for our presentation, but we have the ball right there, two collision lines. Once they meet those parameters, that's when they hit, and then it registers 1 point on either side. In our preliminary designs, we used we put our elements of design into work. This is kind of a simplified design in our first stages of computer engineering development. Now you can see we had the general idea right. We needed to have a VSync, we needed to have a 7-segment display, interaction, our score, our output, our control inputs, and our clock. But we took a radically more intricate and more developed approach once we got midway through the project, and we went into the circuit diagram. Now this circuit diagram works off of like our general elements and understanding of like CPE 200, and it has a more streamlined approach where we have a VGA top. It deals with all the control signals, it passes them back. Then we have the control FSM that receives the information and then relays it from a signal or a graphic signal. Now our external inputs are going to be our clock, our 50 Hertz clock, our reset, and then from there we have our individual modules. Our calculation module is to do our clock division. Our display is just signaling back and forth, and then our points is just a information signal point back and forth. That information then gets relayed to the proper source and then gets outputted to the segment display or the actual external monitor. Then we have our VGA RGBs, so it's red, green, blue, typical for any RGBA or RGB MUX or control system. And from there it goes back with a H-sync, so it sends a signal back to the VGA top. Then from there it's a generally straightforward approach that we just also have a timer. We also have a start input, and that start input is used just to send the initial signal to the VGA top for the first input. In our next slide, we're going to be showing you the demo for the project. This is going to be presented by Tianun.
Hi, this is a demo for ping pong game. This is the code, top module code for the ping pong. So and this is the assignment ping planner. For the board. And then uploading to the board. So we have two bars and one ball. The bar is the racket, and two players control each of the racket. And the middle one is the ball. So for switch one and two would be the for player one movement. Switch 13 and 14 would be player two movement. And then switch 9 is the reset. This resetting the game. Key 0 would be the start of the game. And this when the game starts, if one of the players score, they will show in the LED. And then this is moving the ball. So when I use key 1, switch 1 or 2, it move for the player 1. Same for player 2. So each time someone score, the ball reset into the middle. And that's the demo for ping pong.
I would like to just do a quick thank you to Tianun for his production of the demo. And one of the things we were dealing with during this presentation was like we couldn't directly meet physically, and we weren't able to meet at the school for a lot of like the external help we would usually be able to get. Like we weren't able to get tutoring for some of the production, and we couldn't really meet with a TA last minute or get any help on the production of anything, especially with what's going on. We have a lot of stress and a lot of emotional undertaking for what it's worth. One of the keynotes that we had with the production of the game is the resolution of the game changes the code, and it will depend on your monitor. So you might have to manually adjust the game resolution in your monitor to meet your requirements. So if you have like a 4K screen, we might be working off of like a 1080p screen, but if you have a 4K screen, then the game is going to look very miniaturized on your screen compared to ours, and you have to manually input the actual screen resolution for yours so it can get scaled into it. This is our bibliography. We had the book from our CPE 302 class. We just used it for reference. And thank you for hearing our production out. I know for us this was a momentous occasion as we had to traverse a lot of obstacles, but we were still able to not only finish our game, but produce a final product with all the finishes that we wanted to do.